I'm standing here on Slade Lane today in Levenshulme, just a few days after Manchester Council stood up at the Keep Britain Tidy conference and said that it wanted to become a tidy city and to set the benchmark for other cities to achieve the same ambition. It's a great idea, but there is a lot of work to do if it's going to happen. You can't stand there and say that you're going to be a tidy city when neighbourhood officers are ignoring patches of land like this at the side of the pavement. Manchester Council really needs to do a better job. Just a few weeks ago I sent a tweet to the Levenshulme Department of Manchester Council about this fly tipping here on Crowcroft Road. They ignored the tweet and they've ignored the fly tipping as well. It's been here next to the domestic bins in the alleyway, which is just as scruffy, for nearly a month now, at least.
This is wrong, very wrong.
Yeah, cheers.
Because of this, I'm getting rats. I live a couple of road.
Yeah.
Because of this, I'm getting rats.
So what we've got going on here happens throughout the city, especially in the more deprived areas. We've got too many people living in the buildings for the bins that the council can squeeze in. So the bins are contaminated, overflowing, you get rats, it just doesn't work. This alleyway here on Dickinson Road, this has been a grot spot for years. I don't understand why the council can't provide enough bins for the people who live here. Over in Rusholme now on Hythe Close, this is another area that's been a grot spot with domestic rubbish just dumped on the street, and it's been happening for years. Just behind Eva Street now in Curry Mile. These businesses are selling food, and again this alleyway where people live and people are cooking food has been like this for absolutely years. The problem is that people are making money from this, from stingy waste contracts. The council is letting them get away with it. If we really want to be a tidy city, we need to get a lot tougher, otherwise we're just going to embarrass the whole city. It's fine for the council to put a sign up like the one behind me, and it's fine for them to say they want to be leading by example, they want to be a tidy city. But if their actions are not effective, if it's all empty words, then we're still going to end up with this kind of mess everywhere. I want to ask the council what message it thinks it's sending to the council when you're walking along a street here, about a minute from Curry Mile, that looks like this. You see the street sweepers on the relentless task of mopping up the litter, but the litter that gets blown into the undergrowth just gets left alone, and it was going to stay there for a very, very long time. I used to live on this street in Rusholme. Here we've got the alley gates left open, 3 fridges just dumped in the alleyway. If Manchester Council had more of a control on landlords, then we'd see less of this. These domestic bins have been emptied, but the job hasn't been done properly. And this happens everywhere you go. So alleyways are strewn with rubbish, so people see the alleyway as a dump. If Manchester wants to be a tidy city, it needs to sort this out. Behind me there's a sofa that's now being used as a dustbin, blocking the road as well. Councillor Nigel Murphy told me a couple of years ago that it wasn't beyond the bin crews, certainly the neighbourhood officers, to spot something like this, report it on their way around and get it removed. Obviously the person that has dumped it there also needs to be dealt with too. That's a matter for the neighbours. And if you come a little bit further along the street, then there's a clue that it wouldn't take Sherlock Holmes to arrange an interview under caution for the person who's in charge of this property. I raised a formal complaint last year because the residents that live in these flats haven't got anywhere to put their bins at all, apart from thrown out in a bag onto a main road that leads into the city centre for everybody to see. This is not what a tidy city looks like. The council's response was that they would sort it. Well, this doesn't look sorted to me. Behind me is a problem that we see all over the city, but here it is in Fallowfield, overflowing commercial bins. The neighbourhood officers need to go to the business, in this case it's a bar, and find out why it is that they think the bins that they are paying for are enough to keep our rubbish off the streets. 3 things the council needs to do if we're going to start setting the benchmark for other places and be a tidy city. Firstly, get a grip on your own contractor, Biffa. They take an awful lot of council tax and they're not doing the job thoroughly enough. They need to do it properly and keep the streets clean. Second, commercial businesses that have stingy waste contracts. They don't pay for enough bins and so their rubbish ends up overflowing and causing an eyesore. Thirdly, landlords making an awful lot of money from cramming people into buildings that are too small for them and not dealing with the waste that comes from their business responsibly. Sort those 3 things out, otherwise any ambitions to become a tidy city and to set an example to others are just going to be empty words.